using the ability to train yourself, because that's how your identities come here. You've judged things you've done and decided that's who you are. But I want to give you a little secret. People do things all the time that are not consistent with who they are. But if you point it out enough and you see you keep screwing up, pretty soon you might say, I'm a screw up. When in reality, anyone who's successful has failed much more than you know. It's like you look at somebody who's an unbelievable athlete, somebody who's an unbelievable entertainer, speaker, communicator, artist. They didn't just show up that way. They are being rewarded in public for what you practice in private consistently. You might want to jot that down. We're all rewarded in public for the things that we consistently practice and refine in private. And so you see that person, you think they're a genius, but if you watch, they've been failing more than anybody else. They just failed more often, so they learned quicker. Make sense? So the bottom line is, if you and I are going to make a shift, we got to make a shift in this definition of ourselves, or otherwise it'll keep bringing it back to where it was. But we often do it based on our behavior. And again, please jot this down to help you with other people too, so you don't judge them so much. People are not their behaviors. Write it down again. People are not their behaviors. Because what people do, have you ever done this? Ever gotten stressed out or pissed off and said something or did something that you weren't proud of or wished you hadn't? Who's ever done this before? Say aye. If you don't raise your hand, you lie about other shit too, don't you? Right? We've all done it. So we all can get in a state of anger or fear or worry or sadness or depression or rage and say or do something. And if you do that multiple times, you'll start to think that's who I am, when you're so much more than that. But once you lock in that definition, it controls you. Let me give you another example. Think of it like if I took the room I'm in right now here and I turned the thermostat to, let's say, I don't know, 67 degrees, right? And, all right, 68. I see somebody's got a little picture here for me. So if I put it 68 degrees, and let's use 68 degrees as a metaphor for identity. 68 degrees is your comfort zone. So use the metaphor, like 68 degrees is the amount of, joy you will consistently expect to have. Not what you want, but what you kind of expect. It's what you're used to. 68 degrees is how much money, not how much money you want, but the money you're used to having, right? It's your comfort zone. 68 degrees might be how comfortable you are with intimacy. It's like I'm a 68 degree. I'm not a 100 degree. That's too hot. That's too intimate, But I'm not no intimacy down here at 20. See what I mean metaphorically? 68 degrees might be your body. It's like you want it to be stronger, but 68 is what you're used to. So 68 is your current identity. Also, you could call it your comfort zone. What happens if we set the thing at 68 degrees and things get a little chilly here? Things start to get a little cold. The energy drops, and you go from 68 to 66 to 65 to 64. At some point, might be 60, 61, 62, might be 59. There's a computer on board, and the computer goes, hey, we're a 68 degree. What the hell are you doing here at 59? This is wrong. This is not who you are. And so the heaters kick on to bring you back up to where you think you belong. Your identity, 68 degrees. You know what's interesting? The same thing happens when you succeed more than you expect. So you think you're a 68 degreeer financially, emotionally, happiness, health, strength, relationship, God, whatever, and you start doing better than you're used to, better than you've experienced in the past. You go from 68 to 78 to 88. When you get to 98, 99 degrees, something happens in the brain. The computer goes, hey, what the hell are you doing up here? You're not a 99 degreeer, you're a 68 degreeer. And then what happens? The heaters stop, so you lose your drive. If you're, somebody's in sales, you start to buy shit instead of selling things, right? You hang out on social media instead of being productive, right? And if that's enough, the air conditioning kicks on to bring you right back down where you start to sabotage and get right back to where you think you're supposed to be.
Never in history have there been fewer barriers in the way. No matter where we come from, what our parents did for a living, how much money we have, we all can be unqualified successes.
Being big and strong is also totally useless if you're mentally weak and you quit. Now, being mentally strong should actually lead you to being physically strong, because if you are mentally strong, then you can work and train to become physically strong. But if you're mentally weak, then you will not hold the line on the good foods and the good workouts, and you won't get physically strong or healthy. So, can you be weak and strong at the same time? Yes, but I say be strong. Train your physical strength and exercise your mental strength by doing the right things, the hard things. The things you know you're supposed to do. Do them. And be as strong as you can, mentally, physically, and emotionally, for yourself, for your team, for your family. Hold the line and be strong.
It's all about the details. It's very important.
Right. What needs to change is your mindset, is the way you view the world.
To dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams.
Now, some of those you won't stop doing for whatever reason. You don't have the discipline, or maybe there's a secondary payoff, or you don't believe it's necessary, or it's too much of a sacrifice, or you're angry or resentful or afraid. Who knows? So forget about those for now. But there's another subset that you could stop doing. It might be a little thing. Well, that's fine. Stop doing it and see what happens. And what'll happen is your vision will clear a little bit. And then something else will pop up in your field of apprehension that you will also know you should stop doing, and that you could stop doing because you've strengthened yourself a bit by stopping doing the particular stupid thing that you were doing before. That just puts you together a little bit more. And you could do that repeatedly for an indefinite period of time. And you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to ever be able to formulate a clear and final picture of what constitutes the truth and the good. But it does mean that you'll be able to continually move away from what's untruth and what's bad. And, you know, that's not a bad start.
And I think that's something that, for those of you who are founders, there's a time when you have to admit that to yourself, that it's cool to have a startup, but you may not be a founder.
As Buckminster Fuller said, there's nothing in a caterpillar that tells you that it's going to be a butterfly. And welcome to the human condition. That's the truth of what it's like to be a person. You're hoping that you turn inward and see some sign, some glimmer, some gift that you have that's been bestowed upon you, that you were born with, that is your very birthright. But there's nothing. You were born hopelessly average. And the sooner that you accept that, the sooner that you accept that you are no better than anyone that came before you and everyone that's going to come after you, but all of us have potential.
You have to be very careful with that. Because if you allow somebody to convince you to change your personality, not your mindset, you, in a way, could take that as maybe you're not good enough.
With nothing to indicate that you'll become a butterfly, can you become the butterfly through sheer force of will? Because if you can become that, you become a beacon of hope not for other people, for yourself, because you prove that there really are no limits. And as Walt Disney said, you may not realize it when it happens, but a kick in the teeth may be the best thing in the world for you. Why? Because it's the thing that's going to make you react. It's the thing that's going to hold you down. It's the thing that is going to make you say, never again. No more. I refuse to accept this about myself. I refuse to accept that I'm average. I refuse to accept that I can't be something more. I refuse to stop when something kicks me in the teeth. I refuse to stop when people hate on me or tell me that I can't do something. I refuse to be dictated to by anyone, even my own potential. I refuse to be held back by anything, least of all me.
I pray that when you wake up in the morning, you have to get on your knees. And while you're down there, say thank you. Say thank you in advance for what's already yours.
If it tortures you, get rid of it. And instead of saying, talk about integration, I asked Mary Callahan Erdos, who's, if you're not familiar with her, she's probably one of, if not the smartest person in the financial world, female. She's head of JP Morgan and manages 2.3 trillion with a T, not a B, $1 trillion worth of money. One of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet. Breaks all the molds on people in the financial business. There's not an ounce of manipulation in her body. I mean, just good soul. And I asked her about the balance thing. You're running the biggest bank in the world, right? Trillions of dollars. And she said, Tony, I don't believe in it. And she told me work-life balance. I started laughing. We're completing each other's sentences. She has the same philosophy. But her dad used to take her to work. And he was a financial guy when she was a little girl. She used to have her brother be the secretary. And she took her dad's seat and ran the show. And she said, doing that with my dad, she goes, I loved it. I was a part of his life. I got to be a part of, see that part of his life instead of coming home and me not knowing it. And she said, and that's what she's done with her kids. And at JP Morgan, she leaves and picks her kids up. And she still runs the biggest bank in the world and deals trillions of dollars. So would she say it's balanced? She'd say, no, it's not balanced. It's integrated. She knows when to move into one or the other, right? So that all the parts of her life are rich. Maybe instead of balance, it's a rich life in the areas that matter.
Yeah.
Right? Rich with your children, rich with your husband or wife, rich with your dear friends, rich with the impact that you want to have, your mission, rich in terms of successful business and or whatever your career is that you really feel a sense of meaning and enjoyment. To me, that's more important than balance. And I think, but I'm a very passionate, crazy son of a bitch, right? So it's like, balance sounds a little boring to me personally. No. If you're tortured by balance, trying to be balanced, like other people, I'm not balanced enough. Give that shit up. Instead, enjoy yourself. Enjoy your children. Enjoy the time. Be where you are right now. That to me is more important than trying to make everything balanced, because that gets you cerebral. It makes you evaluate things. Yeah. The more you evaluate, the less you can actually experience what's here right now.